Hello and welcome to another episode of Diaspora Network, where we celebrate Nigerians making significant strides around the world. I'm Amarachi Ubani. On today's program, we take a look at Nigerian doctors in the diaspora who are impacting lives back home. Our guest is Dr. Essien Ukorebi, founder and CEO of Impact in Leadership, an organization that aims to nurture and inspire the next generation of leaders through mentorship, skills development, and character building. But first, let's get up to speed on the latest news from the diaspora.
Celebrity chef Tayola recently collaborated with fashion brand True Religion as part of the Ebiayo Super Club, a series of dinners celebrating friendship, fashion, as well as a blend of Nigerian and Italian cuisine. This Los Angeles event brought together notable athletes, musical talents, and influencers under the theme of connection. Tayo is known for his innovative approach to food, which has garnered him a large following on social media, where he shares recipes, city food tours, and community service initiatives. The event featured dishes such as lobster jollof risotto and truffle yam polenta. At the same time, guests enjoyed exclusive previews of True Religion's latest denim collection. The chef remarked that partnering with a fashion brand which is known for embracing individuality and creativity was an incredible opportunity. This collaboration, which was commended by many, reflected an artistic crossover between fashion, culture, and the culinary arts. The Brit Awards have unveiled Gabriel Moses, a London-based photographer and filmmaker, as the designer of their 2025 trophies. Moses, celebrated for his striking work with global brands and musicians, draws inspiration from modern identity and heritage. Moses was offered his first directing role by Nike at the age of just 18, and has since worked with artists such as Pharrell, A$AP Rocky, Skepta, and Thames. His unique design for this year's award represents the evolution of the music industry, blending traditional craftsmanship with a sleek contemporary aesthetic. By choosing Moses, the Brits continue their tradition of spotlighting innovative talent to showcase artistry in unconventional ways. The award ceremony will take place in March of next year. Oluwaseyi Adeleke, a Nigerian-American graphic designer, sculptor, and streetwear owner, is also being commended for making waves in Chicago's art scene. The 28-year-old says that while he thought he will always be a doctor, he created art for fun on the side. However, one day he made the decision to chase his true passion in honor of his parents, who came to America for their son to pursue his dreams. Adeleke says his brand Progression's latest collection was about celebrating fatherhood, which connects to his mission to preserve aspects of Black culture by highlighting Black and African stories through history, but also in real time. His shop is part of a creative business accelerator program and storefront spearheaded by Chicago University, also acting as a hub for other creatives to collaborate and network. Rising star Ukor has secured a historic win at the 2024 Macau Grand Prix and the FIA France World Cup, which took place between the 14th to the 17th of November. The racer delivered a flawless performance, showcasing his exceptional skill on one of the world's most technical circuits, becoming the first Nigerian-American to win it. The 17-year-old is son to Nigerian supermodel Oluchi Onwegba and Italian fashion designer Luca Orlandi. His victory not only solidifies his standing in the motorsport community, but also fuels speculation about his future in Formula One. Following his win, he says, "I can't thank the RACE team enough. We had a great weekend," and that he's super happy to finally get the job done. With sponsors and fans rallying behind him, Ugochukwu, who is already being dubbed the next Lewis Hamilton, is poised to become a prominent name in racing, embodying the next generation of global motorsport excellence. That's your Diaspora Network news wrap from London.
Although not highlighted very often, international migration has some significant positive outcomes. In our special report this week, we take a look at how Nigerian doctors abroad are impacting lives back home.
In recent times, Nigeria has experienced immigration, especially amongst healthcare professionals, which has been attributed to several factors, including educational purposes, and better standards of living, amongst many others. The trend has raised concern in different quarters, and as part of efforts to address it, President Bola Tinubu recently approved a landmark policy set to transform healthcare human resource management in Nigeria. In spite of the negative impact of emigration, many believe that there are some silver linings. Many have gained world-class status through knowledge exchange and skill sharing between medical personnel from hosts and home countries, increased flow of international trade and foreign direct investment, and technological advancement. In addition, quite a number of doctors take the tough call of returning home to give back through mentorship and advocacy, medical mission, volunteering, and research. They bring with them their wealth of experience, and many Nigerians back home are beneficiaries. First in center stage is Dr. Ronsi Chidebe, a cancer control advocate, global health consultant, researcher, psychologist, and social entrepreneur. He has devoted part of his life to caring for indigent cancer patients, providing free breast and cervical cancer screenings to rural women, raising millions of funds for the poor patients, engaging government on policy advocacy, training for nurses and doctors on oncology and cancer awareness in local languages. He's worked in different continents, including Europe, America, and Africa. He sits on diverse advisory and trustee boards in Switzerland, the United States of America, the UK, and Nigeria. Through Project Pink Blue, a health and psychological trust center, Dr. Chidebe is changing the way Africans think about cancer. Dr. Richard Okoye has made remarkable efforts to revolutionize healthcare delivery in Africa. He is the chairman of the Save a Life group consisting of mission hospitals, pharmaceuticals, and a software developing company based in the US. In 2012, he rejected an offer of $20 million from a corporate group in Dubai for the sale of his company to start up his mission in Africa. Dr. Okoye says his vision is to reverse medical tourism towards Africa through provision of unparalleled world-class healthcare services. He has sponsored the training of doctors abroad and supports various hospitals in healthcare improvement and equipment. These and many more Nigerian doctors continue to shine locally and globally. They also advocate more support and favorable policies from the federal government to add value and make a difference.
Now let's turn our focus to our guest, Dr. Essien Ukor, a general practitioner and passionate leadership mentor.
Dr. Essien Ukor is the founder and CEO of Impact in Leadership, an organization committed to nurturing young minds with a vision to empower and inspire the next generation of leaders in Africa and across the world.
Second person is Hero Basi Igri JSS 3.
Because if we can instill the right qualities of leadership in these young persons, then there is hope for a better Nigeria. Leadership Impact encourages young students, especially young adults, to take authority wherever they find themselves, to take leadership seriously, and to develop leadership qualities that can distinguish them in their academics, in their workplace, in their families, and wherever they find themselves.
His passion for cultivating leadership potential is the driving force behind the initiative, a journey he embarked on in 2015. He is also a practicing medical doctor with training from the University of Calabar Medical School.
My journey has been an interesting one. I was, of course, born in Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria, Kaduna to be precise, and I did my early schooling there before moving down to the southern part, Cross River, and then, of course, completing my secondary school education at the prestigious Hope Waddell training institution. And then, of course, I had a desire to do medicine because of my passion for helping people and, wanting to see people, get well again. So I decided to study medicine, and I did that at the University of Calabar Medical School, where I graduated with the Bachelor's of Medicine and Bachelor's of Surgery. And while studying medicine in University of Calabar, of course, I decided that I wanted more, and I wanted to get in touch with better facilities, better opportunities, first class healthcare service, and I decided I will leave the shores of Nigeria, and UK was the destination, and so I relocated to the United Kingdom, and I've been practicing medicine here since relocating. I've worked in the private health sector here in this country. I've worked with the NHS. Before deciding to specialize in general practice. Today, I work as a general practitioner, a GP, and I run my GP surgery together with a few other wonderful GPs. So it's been a long and interesting journey, which began in Nigeria, and we're here today helping patients and saving lives, essentially.
He moved to the United Kingdom, where he specialized in general practice. He is currently a GP partner working in England and has a diploma with the Royal College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. He also has big interest in medical education and has worked in a few roles, including associate lecturer at the University of Worcester, where he lectured on women's health. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he played a pivotal role in educating the public and analyzing the far-reaching effects of the global health crisis. Fueled by the belief that every young individual possesses untapped potential, Dr. Ukor has dedicated himself to creating a platform that goes beyond traditional education to instilling values and skills that form the bedrock of impactful leadership.
Impacting Leadership is a foundation that I founded back in 2015. So we've been ongoing now for about 9 years, and I've always been interested in the subject of leadership because I know that everything rises and falls with leadership. And so this foundation is geared towards raising young leaders, young innovative leaders in our community. And by that, I mean Nigerian community, who will lead with integrity and, of course, drive positive change in the country and in the community where they find themselves. So impacting leadership, our focus is with the young, leaders, so people in secondary schools and in the universities. And we do a lot of work with these young ones to ensure that we are instilling the right principles in them.
With a forward-thinking approach and an unwavering commitment to excellence, Dr. Ukor continues to lead the charge in shaping a future where young leaders not only thrive, but also redefine the landscape of leadership.
It's an underlying motivation that drives you to service and then enables you to create an impact.
In 2015, he organized the first edition of the Impact in Leadership Conference. This year's edition, which held in October, had in attendance over 600 emerging leaders, some of whom are students from 15 different schools in Calabar, the Cross River State capital. Dr. Ukor authored a book titled Leadership Impact. The book details steps to becoming a confident, innovative, and compassionate leader, a vision he continues to champion through mentorship.
When we return, he shares more of his work and experience. Please stay with us.
My journey, both as a medical doctor in Nigeria and having to leave Nigeria, and also as someone who is, interested in leadership, has, as you rightly said, come with its challenges. Looking back at medical school, the struggles we had to go through whilst in medical school with limited resources, limited exposure. We had to work extra hard. We had to work under tough, circumstances as well, not having, available resources to learn with. But we had to, do the extra. At those levels, that has contributed to bringing us to where we are today. That was a challenge at the time, and we focused. We were able to, scale through that challenge. There's also challenge of integrating to a new country, to a new system as well. Leaving Nigeria, anyone who migrates from Nigeria, of course, pretty much has to fit in, where they find themselves. And that in itself was a major challenge. Coming to the NHS, coming to the UK, having to function at a very high level, working with, systems in the healthcare that you haven't been exposed to previously were also challenges. But, we learned resilience from where we were coming from. We learned to stay focused. We learned to be hardworking. And this is how we've been able to, sail through this challenge. And in a short time, being in this country less than 10 years, we have been able to achieve a lot personally in my medical career. Talking about the leadership side of things as well, there's also challenges in that area. When we started, impacting leadership, there are lots of pushbacks, there are lots of financial constraints, how to get these young people started and moving. But of course, we were focused on our goal. We knew what we wanted to do. We've seen the vision for Nigeria. We're interested in leadership development and growth in Nigeria, and we kept moving. And today we have, sponsorships from all over the place, people partnering with us, with the work that we're doing, at impacting leadership. So yes, we have had challenges, or I have had challenges, but of course I've kept pushing, I've kept, keeping the stride moving, and that has brought me to where I am today. Obviously, there's lots of differences between what happens in the medical practice back home and on what happens in a country like the United Kingdom. And coming here culturally first, it's important to be able to fit in because the patients that you will see predominantly are people who are culturally different from yourself. And so that in itself is a big challenge, how you speak to them, how you communicate to them, how you explain medical, scenarios and conditions to them was a big challenge. And, these are things that we had to work hard, to learn, to be able to do. Of course, how you also manage the patients, the medications that they use here, the terminologies they use here, slightly different from Nigeria. The core principles the same, but these slight changes were things that we had to adjust with to culturally. And also the systems, as I mentioned previously, are completely different. When I came into the NHS, I saw a whole different system. The computer system is different. Some hospitals, everything is essentially paperless, and you have to prescribe, electronically. You have to enter your records electronically, and these are things that we were not exactly, conversant with or used to practicing in Nigeria. Also, talking about investigation, requests for patients, everything is pretty much available for you, to use and, to manage your patients with, some of which we are not also conversant with because they were not readily available in Nigeria. So it just pushed us into, a stage of constant learning to be able to, stay at the front of the pack, essentially, because we were working alongside people who have been in this environment, who have, worked with these same systems pretty much, all their medical journey. But we've come from a different place, and we've had to fit in, and we've had to fit in well and fit in quickly as well. Before I even go into things that need to be put in place for medical experts or medical practitioners abroad to come back into Nigeria, I want to say that a lot of Nigerian doctors practicing abroad would have loved to practice in Nigeria if the conditions were right. And studies that have been done and surveys that have been done can comfortably show that lots of Nigerian doctors leave the shores of Nigeria every day in their numbers. And if you ask them what the main reasons are for leaving, of course, top of that list will be things like poor healthcare system, poor remuneration for doctors, and things like that. So if we're going to have people, doctors, not just doctors, we've got nurses abroad, we've got radiographers, that have left the shores of Nigeria, we've got laboratory scientists that have left Nigeria as well. So we need to focus on the health system. We need to focus on the health system. We need to ensure that it is working again. And that's talking about our teaching hospitals, our general hospitals, that, these people who have been abroad have learned, have used, equipments, requested investigations, that have made their patients better. They can come back home and they have access to similar facilities to be able to work, because it is very frustrating when you've got the knowledge, you've got the know-how, but you haven't got the facilities. And as such, the patients suffer because our teaching hospitals are ill-equipped and our government hospitals or general hospitals are also ill-equipped. And so it will be frustrating for these doctors. Also, of course, to get people who are well paid abroad come back to Nigeria to work, you also have to be ready to pay them. And we see and hear of incessant doctor strikes in Nigeria because of pay problems or problems with their salaries and things like that, which is another top reason why lots of medical professionals leave, because they don't feel valued at home. So when that value comes back, the pay is better, the conditions are right. Nigeria is our home. We love Nigeria. We want to give back to Nigeria. We want to give back to the health sector. As a matter of fact, many of my colleagues have built hospitals in Nigeria, and many more are still building hospitals in Nigeria. Many people are starting foundations in Nigeria because we love the country. We see the future of Nigeria, and we keep investing because we know that Nigeria has not reached its potential. It is a giant of Africa, and it can do better than it is now. So once these conditions are right, you would not need to speak too much for medical practitioners in the US, in the UK, Canada, Australia to come back, to work in Nigeria. Finally, of course, security is key and important. I've lost friends who visited Nigeria briefly, just for holiday and things like that. So there's a lot of factors which, of course, we can't go into in this interview. And we know that the government is working, but of course, when it comes to the health sector, a lot more can be done, to improve the health sector, to see medical professionals abroad come back to Nigeria. I mean, I've got, by the help of God, lots of achievements, but of course, one that stands out for me is, the ability to inspire and, impact positively this young, generation of leaders that we are breeding. Every year we reach out to nothing less than 1,500, leaders, trying to move them from where they are to where they need to be, and investing in their lives through, quality education, through mentorship, for me is a big contribution. Seeing people who, struggle to pay, school fees, and they get scholarship from our foundation, and they can afford their school fees without stress and get quality education. That brings great achievement, to me. And this achievement is not just about personal accolades, as it were, but it's about the legacy of empowerment and the inspiration that we find in this young lives as we keep inspiring and impacting them. And of course, the next step for us is to, keep doing what we are doing in terms of our foundation impacting leadership, broaden our reach, make sure that we reach leaders in every state in Nigeria, and raise this next generation of leaders who will cause, the positive change in Nigeria. And of course, in my medical career, of course, we'll keep moving forward, keep making impact. I've just joined a a GP practice as a co-owner, and will continue to, make more impact in terms of, seeing our patients better, delivering healthcare, and of course, one day we would extend that back to Nigeria and hopefully have a state-of-the-art facility in Nigeria that can deliver great medical care to the people of Nigeria.
That's a wrap on another inspiring episode of Diaspora Network. Remember, you can find more amazing stories of Nigerians making their mark on the global stage on our YouTube channel and our website, channelstv.com. Until next time, I'm Amarachi Ubani. Bye for now.